Do you have a great admiration for people who don't even exist? Do you know histories of fake worlds better than you know your own? Do you geek out? If so, geek out with us. Here, now. It's the Geek for All show.
Hey, it's the Geek for All. Welcome back to it. I am Geekmeister, your host, and this is Winchester, my co-host.
Hello.
And tonight we are talking about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yay!
Really, really fun movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I think we decided we're gonna first talk about the actors in this film, and then we're gonna get into all of some of our favorite beasts from this movie, because that's sort of the whole point was to see all of these things. I mean they're really so a lot of people have been saying there was the story was just kind of, why were you there for the story? I was there to see a bunch of monsters be monsters, and I got exactly that, and it was beautiful. But along with that, I got actually some really fantastic acting, particularly from Eddie Redmayne. Is that how you pronounce that? Eddie Redmayne.
Yes, the Brit of the group, who plays Newt Scamander, who was chosen by J.K. Rowling herself. The part was written for him. Newt was already a character in the series, not in the series himself, but they introduced the encyclopedia. And
Hagrid talked about him a little bit because that was an inspiration for him when he was younger at school.
Yep. Luna actually marries one of Newt's grandsons later on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he is involved. He's not directly involved in the Harry Potter story itself, but he's a member of the Wizarding Society that we've known. But in terms of acting and casting, they didn't actually do an open casting for this. Eddie Redmayne was Newt. They chose him, they asked him, he said yes, and then he helped pick other actors and cast other actors.
Oh wow, he helped choose the other people who were going to be around him.
Exactly. He was involved in all of it. So the part was his. And pretty much, if you're a Brit, pretty much if you're anybody, especially an actor, you want to be involved in this franchise. It's like being involved in the Star Wars franchise. You really want to be in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine, especially if you're a British actor, you got your big things. You got your Doctor Who, and then you got your Harry Potter. And, you want to be involved. Sometimes in both. Lots of times in both, rather. If you're, David Tennant and plenty of other actors, you're involved in both. But yeah, Eddie Redmayne, who has been in a couple of other things. He's not actually, in terms of big names, the big names that were in the movie, we had a lot of little names, which I prefer in a Harry Potter movie.
I think it's better for it. I think you have your couple of, kind of star appeal people going on, and then everyone else is just sort of oh, this character. I'm not thinking about them as somebody else.
Right, and it's funny because the Harry Potter movies, despite being so huge and having such a fan base, is a great place for a lot of actors to start. You have the original trio, who were Harry's age when they started, and that was some of their first acting. Dan did a little bit of acting beforehand, but with Emma, that was kind of her first thing.
I think with I'm blanking on Ron at the moment.
Oh my god, why am I blanking on him?
Because it's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
Ralph? No.
No, it's not.
No, it's not Ralph. It's definitely
it's
not.
It's awful that I can't remember. Rupert Grint.
Rupert. Okay, I was going somewhere with the R.
Yes.
The R
Rupert
was
Grint.
Roughly on point.
Rupert Grint.
Okay, Rupert Grint.
He did a little bit, I think, but even now he doesn't do a whole lot. It was kind of Harry Potter, and then he did a couple things.
Right. And then and now Daniel Radcliffe isn't doing major things, but he's been consistently in something I think every summer, basically since Harry Potter.
He pretty much does whatever the fuck he wants at this point.
I mean, which is pretty fantastic.
He was in Horns, which is phenomenal. But then he does random shit Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, I never saw that actually.
I didn't actually see it
but
either,
I heard it was
fantastic. So he just kind of does random shit. He was in that horror movie, not The Woman in White, whatever that one random horror movie is. That came out. It came out shortly after the last Harry Potter movie.
Oh, wait. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
It's not worth looking up at the moment.
No.
But yeah, no, that is the thing. Like, a lot of people have actually either launched from Harry Potter or sort of gotten, like, a revitalization from Harry Potter. It's certainly Alan Rickman.
Oh, yeah.
It was a revitalizing role for him.
Definitely. But with Eddie Redmayne, a lot of people might know him from Les Mis, the movie version of Les Mis, because he was in that. He was Marius.
Okay.
That was kind of his big thing. A lot of stuff that I'm looking at on his IMDb. He was on the other Boleyn Girl for a little bit. He's in some little stuff, but Les Mis was his big break, it seems. And then he was in Jupiter Ascending, which I never saw. I'm pretty sure he won an Oscar, or he won some sort of award for The Danish Girl. That was his big drama, and then Fantastic Beasts and starting in the Harry Potter world is kind of been his mainstream start.
Well, it's a good place to launch off from him for. I mean, he was really fun in the role.
He was.
At first, I kept thinking, like, why do I want to see this guy as the Doctor so badly? And then at a certain point, I was just like, oh, wait, no, because he is Matt Smith as the Doctor.
He pretty much
like,
is.
Holy God.
He very much is. It's very much that, like, sweet Hufflepuff, like, I want the world to be nice and sunshine. But he's quirky and he's a little weird, but he wants to care about everybody. But he's got his deep, dark secrets, too.
Right, no, and also, like, he wants the world to be a nice, cheery place. He always wants it to be, like, something that's like, oh, I want this to be cool and not bad. But he, like, deep down, like, knows, like, it's gonna be terrible.
Right,
like,
it can't be a thing.
Yeah.
And Eddie Redmayne's even said that if they offered it to him, he would take that role. He would take the Doctor.
I mean, granted, it might be fun, but I feel like, again, we've seen Smith, I don't know if it'd be pertinent or not. I mean, I don't know. At this point, though, like...
I'd let Eddie do, like, anything. Like, you want to be anything? Be anything, Eddie. It's okay. I think you can handle it at this point. Because, honestly, like, not a lot of the acting... I read articles and reviews where some people said that, the acting, some of them kind of phoned it in. And while I disagree a little bit, I think Eddie was definitely one of the stronger people. I think he was definitely one of the stronger actors.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly he was one of the strongest people in the film. However, I suspect that they found the guy who played Jacob.
Yes.
Hang on, I'm trying to find Jacob.
Kowalski.
Jacob Kowalski.
Yeah, Kowalski.
Oh.
Dan Fogler. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
I suspect that they probably were talking about him a little bit, and it's like, yeah, but he was playing a major caricature. Like, he was playing, like, that 1920s factory worker, decent guy.
Yeah.
Like, just like...
American Joe.
Yes. Completely. And lovable, and oh man, no, he was my boy throughout the entire movie. I was just like,
I was very pleased with him because, and everybody, like, I went into this movie not wanting to get my hopes up, just as I have been going into all 2016 movies, not wanting to get my hopes up, because they're all sequels, prequels, revisions, anything and everything that I'm trying not to get my hopes up on.
Are you suggesting that there might be a stagnancy within the film world right now?
No, never. The fact that they're making 4 more Fantastic Beasts movies. But we'll get to that in a second. But so I was a little hesitant with a lot of the cast members because I hadn't heard of a lot of them. But people like Dan Fogler, at first I was like, I don't know this guy. I don't really know what he's been in. And I was a little
I've heard the name before, actually. I didn't recognize him.
Like visually?
Yeah.
But I was a little afraid of the character because, it's the Muggle going into the magical world, which we haven't seen before. But I didn't think I'd get as emotionally attached to him as I did.
Yeah, no.
Because he's kind of like everybody's best friend.
He is. No, that's the thing, and that's like he played him very corny, but like true at the same time.
Right.
But that was the thing; it was the perfect touch of corniness and like real and like actually like vibing on the character correctly.
Yeah.
To where when he has to be obliterated,
oh my
you're
god,
just like, no,
but
he just saw all this stuff and his eyes have been opened to this amazing world. Like that would be like someone tells you, I am going to erase you reading Harry Potter from your mind.
That's exactly what it was. And I think that's what hit a lot of people was that he didn't. Now there's some theories about whether or not he actually like what he remembers and what he doesn't.
Well, personally, I think that he did get obliterated, but I think that kiss right before like the rain like did something to preserve the memory somewhere deep down. And when he sees her again, they both grin at each other like they know what's up.
Well, one of the theories is that, okay, again, as we talked about with Doctor Strange, spoilers abound. This movie's been out for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, we can't really help with this one.
The thing that somebody pointed out was that when Newt uses, so to obliviate the entire city, Newt uses one of his creatures that has, its venom has memory erasing properties, but he specifically says bad memories. So someone's theory is that while yes, Jacob's memory is erased, because someone asked how do you when they're in the bakery later, somebody asks how do you come up with all of these creatures, etc., etc. He's like, I don't know, they just kind of come to me, but they come to him as good memories. So there's a slight theory that the bad memories got erased, but people like the people, it's not Tina, the woman that he falls in love with, they're all good memories. So, which is why he kind of remembers.
I see. Okay. That could be a thing.
Not
That's
that he's
possible.
like very, it's a little different. But just like everybody, the fact, the Aurors, you had,
oh my god, Colin Farrell as Graves was...
yes.
Oh, man. And I actually wish he had just, like, transformed into an older version of himself, because I would have loved to actually just see him play Grinwall the whole time.
Yes. That I want to get to that in a second. Because I have a problem with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And I've told you about this, but I have a problem with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We'll get to it in a second. But the Colin Farrell thing, I like Colin Farrell. I think he's a very competent actor. I've seen him in drama. I've seen him in comedy. I was very nervous about him being involved in the Harry Potter universe because I'm A, slightly protective of it. Let's be fair. And B, he's a bigger name. Sometimes the bigger names ruin it. Like, the people, I feel like the actors and actresses that were in the original Harry Potters were big enough names to give it credit, street cred, but not enough to steal the show.
Right.
And I wasn't sure if he could live up to his name in acting ability. Not that he's, A-list, Brad Pitt, etc. kind of actor, but I didn't want to get my hopes up on him.
Right.
But man, did he fucking blow me out of the water. Like, that blew me away.
He was phenomenal.
If
Eddie is number one as far as acting in this film, Colin's number two.
Absolutely.
Unquestionably.
Absolutely.
Like, I wanted to mention Jacob because, again, you would mention just like the ham-fistedness, which, like, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, no, you're just talking about that character,
right? Pretty
specifically, and you're hating on it because it's a caricature, and you just, as soon as you see a caricature, shut it down. Even though you can make a caricature valid sometimes,
right?
Shouldn't overdo it. It shouldn't overstay its welcome. But he was perfect. It was great.
But as Graves, like. He had that, and especially when you watch it a second time. We saw it one time, I saw it a second time. Seeing it a second time, you see Graves. So ultimately what happens is you have Graves, who's this head Auror, and you follow him as he goes through trying to figure out what's killing all of these people and what's destroying the city. And you don't realize that he's actually Grindelwald in disguise until it's revealed at the end. The second time around, you see a lot of different clues
Oh, I mean, no, just thinking back on it, like, the same night, it's so obvious.
Like, in retrospect, you realize what's happening, but he shows it in his acting in small moments. Small moments of, like, I don't know if he's allowed to do that. Or certain character choices, like, certain things that Graves does that you have to wonder if it's actually legal. Or is that something that would actually, someone who's head of a department, be able to do? Like sentence 2 people, including an ex-Auror, to death without a trial.
Right?
Kind of thing. Being able to do wandless magic, which is huge in the Harry Potter world, is something that's very difficult, but he does it numerous times.
Yeah, because magic, it can't exist without a focus.
Right.
But you need but you almost invariably need a focus, almost always, to do anything, and wands are the most reliable and practical ones.
Right, but you have to be extremely strong not to be able to use a focus in the Harry Potter world.
Right.
Grindelwald, one of the few wizards, including Dumbledore, that can do it on a consistent basis. And so you see certain things, and I do have to admit, one of the downfalls of this movie, I have to say, is that from somebody who's obviously read the books numerous times, I feel like I would be a little lost in the Grindelwald storyline if I hadn't read the books.
Yeah, like, Grindelwald is super left field in all of this, and I don't think that they gave him the introduction with this that they think that they might have. Like,
No, I think if he had been established more in the original series...
I'm trying to remember, though. Do the movies establish Grindelwald
They do a little bit. Not well enough.
Okay, not well enough?
No.
Yeah,
not well enough.
I stopped kind of paying attention to the movies after the 4th one, and yeah, so I don't know exactly what they cover.
No, they only really cover him for a little bit. I would say maybe at most 15 minutes out of, all the last 3 movies or so, 6, 7, and 8. So it, to me, not like, I know the backstory. I know his story, and that's what the next 4 movies are going to be about.
Which will be very cool to watch, actually.
Right, because
they better find a way to tie Newt back in with it, because otherwise none of this makes any fucking sense at all.
Right, Eddie's supposed to be, he's slated for the second one, on IMDb at least. So I imagine he's going to be around for more, which I'm really glad about. But it's supposed to cover, so the next 4 movies are supposed to cover up until 1945, when Dumbledore and Grindelwald have their final battle. My thing is, I don't know if I want to stare at Johnny Depp's ugly mustache for 4 more movies.
Yeah, it was
the makeup was awful.
Great.
Like, Johnny Depp, competent character actor. Jack Sparrow, one of the best characters in... I would say one of the... okay, maybe not one of the best, but I think as a transformation... and somebody who, like, timeless. He's one of those characters that you're not gonna forget.
He's definitely up there as far as timeless character.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I would say one of the best, like, caricature characters, but I would say in terms of, like, you think of a character, Jack Sparrow is one of those characters that you're not gonna forget.
I mean, Jack Sparrow is the romanticized pirate.
Oh, yeah.
Like, straight up, he
absolutely
is that 100%. And he is amazing. Like, okay, here's how good Jack Sparrow is. They're now making movie number 5.
Is it only 5? I thought it was like 10.
No, I think it's
is
only
it 5?
But
they've been going for, okay, so...
hang on. Original trilogy. Then they did the thing.
It's 5.
It's 5.
But at least for 10 plus 12 years, at least, I think.
Like every other year now we've had, like, a freaking Pirates of the... That's how good his character is, because there's no reason other than him that those movies are getting made.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, that's how good Jack Sparrow is. We will put up with 4 shit movies just to watch Jack Sparrow be Jack Sparrow. I don't know
just
why.
Just to watch Johnny Depp stumble around drunk.
Yes.
Like, that's all we need.
And to be perfectly honest, I think Disney should just come out with a movie that is just the Jack Sparrow adventure and have it be nothing but Jack Sparrow getting drunk and getting into a couple of fights for pretty much no other reason than he stole somebody's lizard or some shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
and watch him get slapped around.
Yeah, because
that would be it.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's all actually, I'm hoping this 5th movie might be that.
It might be.
I'm actually going to see this one because I want it to be that.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to keep doing those movies. Anyway, we've moved very far on. He's not Captain Jack Sparrow in this, though.
He's not.
He's Grindelwald. And Yeah, not what I was picturing at all. And
going back to what you were saying about wanting Colin Farrell to be Grindelwald, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to keep Colin Farrell in this role and completely turn into the monster that he kind of hinted at. I would have been so happy with that. I didn't need Johnny Depp. I didn't need an A-list actor.
Well, and the thing is,
it was weird.
There's a lot of other, like, places where Johnny Depp might make sense. Like,
right.
Absolutely. Like,
the eccentric neighbor, or like somebody, not somebody huge, but like a professor. Or...
Well, actually, no. The Minister of Magic at the time was supposed to kind of be a bit of like an uptight and like sort of panicked kind of dude.
Exactly.
Johnny Depp could fucking nail that shit. Like, he totally could be epic as something like that.
Absolutely.
But you've got him as Grindelwald, and don't get me wrong, he can do bad guy awesome too. Okay. I guess the fact of the matter is I can't vote him in because he said like 3 fucking things in this movie, and he whispered them for the most part.
He did. So he didn't get a whole lot of screen time. So I guess we have to give him a chance. But I'm so protective.
I swear to God, give him a better haircut and lose the mustache.
Lose the fucking mustache. It's creepy.
Oh man, it's not good.
No.
It's like, it's pedo van bad.
And I think a lot of it is like, in my head, Grindelwald, especially, okay, so the guy, Jamie Campbell Bower, plays Grindelwald, young Grindelwald in the movie, in the original movies. He's cute. He's actually very he's very attractive. He's very charming, charismatic. You don't expect him to be this like Hitler-esque kind of character. Johnny Depp does not give off that feeling.
No,
in Fantastic Beasts.
This is like notes of Sweeney Todd.
Yes, this is the creepy.
This
is the creepy genocidal maniac.
Which is fine that's where he developed to, but we've got to still be able to see witnesses of like his old charming self.
Yes.
Which I feel like they're just directionally not going to take it with like just immediately from his first look. He's going to be kind of like.
Yeah.
It felt like they want to do like their version of like a Joker-esque character almost, and I'm just like,
we don't need that.
We don't need that.
We need the charming sociopath.
Yes, we do need that. That is precisely what we need from Grindelwald. And more importantly, if you were going to throw something, like if for some reason you wanted to jump on the like now decade-old like Heath Ledger Joker bandwagon shit for whatever fucking reason, you could save that shit until the inevitable like, you know, future Harry Potter film.
Right.
Which, like, let's get real. Like, as soon as Daniel Radcliffe's in the age range, like, where they left him off at the end of that movie series, like, you know, with the postscript or whatever. At the
19 years later.
The 19 years later.
Epilogue,
once we hit that point, we're going to watch other Harry Potter films unfold. Like,
right, or else if they make The Cursed Child into a movie. If they take the Broadway show and they make it into a movie.
Right, we'll definitely see him in that. And more importantly, like, it's just a good enough franchise. He's willing to play ball. He's expressed the fact that
he wants to.
Really willing to play ball and continue to do Harry Potter with whatever they come up with, honestly. It's a big franchise, and honestly, like, it's an awesome enough world where as long as they don't do anything too stupid with the story, we'll put up with some kind of crap
pretty much.
For a little bit just to, like, watch more pieces of the world. And us Americans, selfishly, will totally watch more if you, like, throw us a bone and, like, for some reason set a crazy adventure in the United States. Like, Harry has to go chase somebody down here for some fucking reason.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. You know, you could save like a mischievous character for something like that. Like, you know, like look toward your future of the franchise as far as that goes.
Right.
Don't do this to the Grindelwald story. Like seriously.
No.
And I know people gotta be probably speaking about this. Listen to those people. Trust us on this. It's not going to be good if you try to play that angle. I think it might have been fine considering he had been caught and it was just kind of like the jig is up. Like we can still regress from this. And he can still have moments where he's super creepy and you've got that essence of Sweeney Todd going on. Like, that's fine. Like, he should be able to break into that at certain moments when he really wants to put the fear of hell into you.
Right. But we need the charming sociopath.
We need the charming sociopath from Grindelwald. That's what he is. Like, he's a cult of character. Like, that's the whole point. It's Hitler, motherfucker. It's Hitler.
That's exactly what it is. But going back a little bit is going into expanding the universe. So the fact that we get to see adults and a government use magic, not learning necessarily magic, but using magic as an everyday tool, having already mastered it, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The fighting, the dueling, like it wasn't Sorcerer's Stone, Hedwig's Theme, magical Christmas at Hogwarts. It was hardcore, I will fuck you up if I hit you kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was definitely
jumping off of roofs.
Like
and
they replaced guns with wands.
Yes,
like, that's what
they
happened.
did.
We had shootouts happen,
and it was
in this
so
film.
cool.
It was very cool. Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I would love to see stuff in like the future as well. And especially in a time like where Harry's existing, where Muggle acceptance is starting to become more and more of a thing, which they played on in notes of this film and everything. It'd be interesting to watch Muggles like be able to exchange more freely with wizards and stuff, and like watch if like some kind of like a bigger branch starts to be crossed there and everything. What happens when like enough people find out about some kind of like one of these beasts from the movie and stuff, and like decides like, well, maybe we want one for ours too, or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's very interesting to see society, because we didn't get to see a whole lot of the outside of Hogwarts. We saw a little bit, but the main conflicts were at Hogwarts. The final battle happens at Hogwarts in the original movies. This, we get to see a society. We get to see they're called no-mages. We get to see this anti-no-mage society. We get to see the aftermath of the Salem witch trials, basically. Is what we're watching. We're seeing that absolute separation between the magical world and the Muggle world, and it's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty world building.
No, it's really well done. And it ties in a lot of like the notes that she was intentionally trying to tie in with racial prejudice.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
And then she takes another angle on it in this movie with that fucking speakeasy scene.
Yes.
Which.
Okay, it was very Star Wars Cantina.
It
with the singing CGI.
Yes, and what got me was that it was so on the fucking nose.
It was, though. It was.
So
was.
Wait, the form, because I'm assuming, okay, because things probably work a little bit differently in the United States. I've already established that. And, like, a house elf owns this joint. I'm going to go out on a limb that when the United States outlawed slavery, like, the North America Wizards League also outlawed slavery, which outlawed house elf usage of slavery. Mm-hmm. Which I think is why you found a bunch of house elves working as speakeasy in the 1920s. Literally, you walk in and there's a house elf, like singing jazz tunes and stuff. It's just like, oh, okay, really bringing out that like the house elves are black people thing.
Yeah,
all right, no punches held here at all.
Not at all. But so if you don't know, the movie is based off of an encyclopedia that she wrote for charity. It's only about 50 pages long. It's actually a textbook that it's got handwritten notes from Harry and Ron and Hermione. But it lists all these.
I forgot about the notes.
The notes are like the best part.
I know. You said that. I'm like, oh, yeah, those are the best. Because Harry and Ron would always say something stupid, and then Hermione would correct them in like really hilarious ways, actually.
Or it's like the entry for werewolves. It says werewolves at the top, and then I think Harry wrote in "are not all that bad" because it's
yes.
So it's stuff like that, or it's doodles and stuff like that. So they took the idea. And they handpicked. We see quite a few beasts, and when I first heard about the movie, I was expecting a little more rampaging through the streets of them, but I'm kind of glad they pulled it back.
Oh, this worked so much better.
I think this worked a lot better. Because it was a little more controlled.
Because basically, a few of them get out and do rampage through the streets or through a bank, more particularly.
Yeah.
But most of them are in his TARDIS. I'm sorry, suitcase.
Yeah. It is. It is. It's bigger on the inside.
It is. Like, I think they literally say bigger on the inside
they do.
At some point.
They
like,
do.
It was just. I think that was. Yeah, you know what? Because that was the moment that I'm like, oh, because he is the fucking doctor. Okay, that's why.
It's true.
But that's where you saw most of the beasts. He basically has like a zoo inside of his suitcase. And because it's a non-dimensional or extra-dimensional space, basically, like he's got tons of room for these things too. So like they're not like enclosed at all. It's like very open, and things flow from like one environment to the next very nicely. It's awesome, actually. Like I'm like just like I was watching. I'm like I want to go to there.
Right, exactly. I want to be there. And just the way that they created, they brought some of these characters, some of these beasts to life, some of these animals to life, is just it's astounding. The Niffler, okay, I thought the Niffler, he was like my BB-8. When we first had the new Star Wars movie, I didn't get emotionally or financially invested with BB-8 because I didn't want him to turn into Jar Jar Binks, and then I would hate my life. I did the same with the Niffler. I didn't buy the Funko figure. I didn't get involved because I knew if I did, he was gonna be obnoxious. Funniest fucking thing in the entire movie, because he steals everything he sees, and he's just like, his little pouch holds a vault's worth of gold, and he and Newt have silent eyebrow conversations.
Oh my god, the eyebrows are so intense, and it's beautiful.
It's really? And then they go through and trash a jewelry store. Like, it's a silent trashing of this jewelry store. It's the best thing ever. And so you get the little moments. You get the little creatures like the Niffler or the Bowtruckle, who obviously has a personality. And then you get these huge creatures. You get the Akame, who is the giant blue bird snake thing that takes up whatever space it can contain, from a giant attic in Macy's
to a teapot.
To a tiny teapot. And trust me when I say, the look that the Akame has when it spots that roach, I've seen that look. My dog gets that look when I hold up some peanut butter.
Well,
like,
you have a hellhound. So,
I do have a hellhound.
So, it's going to happen.
To Frank, my favorite, Frank the Thunderbird. I love Frank.
Frank is pretty fantastic. Although I gotta give it up. Oh, what was the name of the little celery creature?
It's a Bowtruckle.
The Bowtruckle?
Yeah, it's a Bowtruckle. I don't remember what the Bowtruckle's name is. It's something.
The Bowtruckle was my favorite.
The Bowtruckle's good because you get like a little bit of a baby Groot feel.
It's like baby Groot. I don't know, crossed with something. Like there's something else going on there, or it's just unique all to itself, sort of. But
it's pretty phenomenal.
He is just adorable.
Yeah, and the fact that they made all these creatures have personalities of their own. So you're able to connect with them and say that Frank's my favorite. Like, you get to say that, and the fact that Newt named this majestic creature that creates thunderstorms and can sense danger, named it Frank.
That's my move.
Exactly.
Actually, side note, one of the things I'm famous for when I'm running a game of something is I tend to just always make the NPCs one name, quite often Frank.
Yes.
Or at least NPCs that aren't going to matter, because I don't feel like keeping track of a million NPCs.
Until we make them matter and get attached.
Yeah, and then they have to have nicknames, because screw you people.
Done that. So yeah, you get these creatures that are, well, fantastic, because
they really are.
They really are. I think if we weren't trying to focus, I think if they had been not trying to also create a new storyline, a new, the Grindelwald thing as well, I think the Beasts would have stolen the show, and they almost did in of themselves.
Yeah, no, they did. I mean, that is the thing. Like, what the hilarious thing is that for one little story is actually in this whole thing, it's kind of shoehorned in.
Yeah.
To the even lesser story that is, man comes to New York and causes havoc because he can't keep track of his creatures.
Right, you would think for that giant premise that they build it as, it's a very small storyline.
It's so tiny.
It's very tiny.
It's so tiny. It has like nothing to do with like what's really going on in the grand scheme of things, even within the movie.
But at the same time, Newt is okay. So a very common storytelling theme is the new guy. You got the new guy in town, the new guy on the force, the new guy in the hospital, in the new teacher.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Exactly. You get the new person. Well, the way that this world is set up, you can't do that necessarily because wizards are already going to know how the government works. Like, they may be new to their department. Like, we could have done a new aura, or we could have had a new something.
But having a British dude go check out a foreign government, one that we've had no contact with through the books or movies at all.
Exactly.
You get to maintain that 100%.
Exactly. So he's the new guy in town, literally, and he's very vital to it because he hints at the old, but brings it into the new. And then now we're connected to Tina, Jacob, Queenie, who I love. She's amazing. Serafina, the president of Makusa. I hate the pronunciation of Makusa. It's Mac USA. Shut up. Because it sounds too much like Yakuza. So, I'm sure there's a running gag there.
Somebody anyway.
Somebody fucks up and they mispronounce it or they mishear it and somebody gets hurt. So then you have Serafina, who's this badass president. And I hope we get to see more of her too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that really this is like the reason that they went into the world building was not only to have the new guy in town feel that's consistent throughout Harry Potter. I'm really hoping that part of the move here was also to just explore the world in general more, and that we're gonna get a lot. I think we're gonna have to with the Grindelwald story. But I want to know so much more about like what are different cultures like in the Harry Potter universe. Like what old folklore still has resonance. Like Native Americans and stuff like that. Like,
and that's a big thing in the American magic is the Native American.
Right.
basis.
You know, like we obviously touched on it a little bit with the Thunderbird, and one of the houses is actually Thunderbird and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've got like a huge. The Thunderbird is a creature from Native American mythology,
right?
Based off of the eagle, basically.
But then you've got Japan, which is this hugely. Japan and China are these huge mystical lore-based cultures.
And all that we hear out of them from Harry Potter is the dragons that come from there. That's all that manages to get touched on. There's so much more to potentially do there. There's wraiths, there's...
There is. In Africa, there's actually a very strong presence of dream magic. And...
Right.
Astral projection and things beyond... Things go more into spirit rather than body. And it's all in Pottermore, which is great. Well, some of it is in Pottermore. And she's going to be releasing more and more, obviously. So I think that's what I like about this movie. Despite certain downfalls with the story and trying to fit a lot into 2.5 hours, it starts a world and it starts being able to create more. It gets outside Hogwarts.
It does, and I mean... You know, for as much gripe as I give the film series, and actually I will still continue to like after basically the first 2 films. I'm so sad that they were not able to continue with the first director that they had, whose name I can't remember.
Chris
because
Columbus.
He understood those books. Like, you can tell in those first 2 movies, he gets Harry Potter. The rest of them, like, there's a reason they had a new director pretty much every film after that.
Except for 6, 7, and 8 are the same guy, and it's the same guy who's directing Fantastic Beasts.
I might need to go back and check out those films because he actually gets it. And actually, those ones, the clips that I've seen from them are not bad. But I mean, the point being though, when I watched those first 2 films when I was a kid, and again, those first 2 films I feel like capture Harry Potter really, really well.
Yeah.
The sense of wonder that I had of this world opening up to me, which wasn't even opening up to me because I'd read the books anyway, but that visually opened up to me. I felt like that again watching this movie. I felt like a kid, like especially when he was inside of the suitcase, going from room to room, seeing all these amazing creatures, clearly from all of these different environments around the world, and it was just it's this sense of wonder that you rarely actually feel as an adult anymore because you've seen a lot of stuff.
We get excited about the nostalgia stuff, especially lately, because they're bringing back a lot of the nostalgia stuff. So when we see Star Wars, we get excited about the Crawl. We get excited about certain things. But the Harry Potter, the Fantastic Beasts movie brings that whole feeling.
Yeah, and
it's not just certain parts,
right?
It's
because
it
it is nostalgia based still, but it's new. It is actually new stuff. We're not seeing the same thing again. This was not a Harry Potter story.
No,
it was well within inside of the Harry Potter universe certainly, but this didn't have the feel of a Harry Potter story.
No.
This didn't have a Magic Quest kind of feel. This had a misadventure in a trying time with magic sort of just being around it.
Yep. It happens to be placed in a magical world.
Yeah, and bravo, because it was nostalgic and refreshing at the same exact time, which was beautiful.
Yep. Precisely.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts, I mean, technically we've spoiled it for you. Except again, it's so visually based, it'd be really hard to spoil it for you. You know, it's kind of the Avatar thing if Avatar didn't try so hard to actually have a story.
And I suggest seeing it in theaters. I saw it in IMAX. You can do it. I suggest seeing it in theaters, especially for the first look at all of the animals.
Oh,
it's breathtaking. And seeing it on DVD or Blu-ray is not going to be the same experience.
Oh, no. Not unless you've got
like a
whole movie theater or something.
You have to see it in theater. So go see it at a cheap theater. Go see it with you gotta go.
Go for the theater experience. It's well worth it for this one, even if you're the normal person who waits or does naughty things. Trust me, spend the money. Go check this one out.
Definitely.
Anyway, that's gonna be all for us this evening. Next time, it's going to be our last show for the year, and I think. We all know that 2016 has been a tremendous motherfucker of a piece of shit of a year.
Bullshit.
So we were going to just kind of briefly touch on all of the losses that we've had and kind of do a special salute to everyone that we've lost in what has got to be the most reality-shattering year I have ever experienced as a human being, and I'm sure I'm not alone. But until then, you all have a wonderful evening and take care of yourselves.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
The music for the Geek for All show has been provided by Fat Street Beats, Ben Sound, and Purple Planet. Please support their individual pages.